Gaffney, South Carolina's favorite son is heading back to Netflix. I'm Sasha Perl-Raver, and this is Screen Junkies News. Very aptly timed, Netflix just dropped a dark new trailer for season 5 of House of Cards. With me to break it down is Dan Murrell and Jonathan London. Gentlemen, let's do this thing.
Oh, I was already doing it. I'm sorry.
Bring it.
I pledge allegiance.
Nothing creepier than creepy children.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it
And
stands,
an upside down flag.
one nation,
Subtle at least.
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank
wow.
you, May 30th. Simple, dark, eerie. I like it.
So where's the teaser? I'm sorry.
So, guys, we are going to be talking spoilers.
I love it.
If you have not seen season 4 or season 3 or season 2, this is your spoiler warning.
Spoiler alert.
All right, guys. So what we know is this will be bleak.
Yeah, there's
What we
no
know
room for
is this
subtlety.
will be dark.
But what about the show?
But it's so, and also the fact that they decided to rush this teaser so that it would be on Inauguration Day
Yes.
is not accidental.
No.
No.
Liberal
Now,
Hollywood at its best.
what we have here also in terms of upheaval is Beau Willimon is out as showrunner. He left after season 4. We have 2 new showrunners. It's Melissa James Gibson and Frank Pugliese.
Pugliese.
Pugliese?
I think it's Pugliese.
All right,
Yeah.
Pugliese. Hopefully I will learn that by next season.
That's fine.
Pugliese. They are people that have playwriting backgrounds, as did Beau Willimon. Is there anything that you hope to see in terms of what they will bring? Are you nervous that Beau Willimon is no longer involved?
It's always a little nerve-wracking that when the creator leaves. I do think that while I still enjoyed particularly the last 2 seasons of House of Cards, it wasn't quite as compelling as the first. So it's not like, I think the analogy here would be Aaron Sorkin, who left The West Wing after 4 years. That show was vastly different, and it took it a very long time to kind of find its footing. It almost had to reinvent itself halfway through. I think that, both of these new showrunners are internal hires. They've worked on the show before. It's not like you're bringing in a completely new crew to that has no idea of the show. So it could be a reinvigoration. It could be some fresh blood. It just depends on which direction they decide to take it. They certainly left it in a very interesting spot.
When you say blood, my fear is when Alan Ball left True Blood, because then that show went directly into the crapper. With these 2 writers, Frank is known for doing procedural work. Melissa is known for doing sort of interpersonal dynamic writing. So what will that mean for season 5, Jonathan?
I think that's what you need on this show. And we also have to remember the one thing that's massively consistent is that this is Netflix. You had showrunners leave after the first season of Daredevil, and Daredevil season 2 is arguably better, or it's definitely as good as the first season. And we really loved first season, but the second season was fantastic as well. So there is consistency there, and having these 2 heads it may be better than one. You might actually have these 2 things come as a sum game, all right? Like,
Sure.
This might actually work even better.
Well, it's also interesting because so much of season 4, so season 3 ends with Claire walking out on Frank.
Yeah.
And season 4 is all about whether or not they can reconcile, whether or not they can come together.
It's a brutal season.
Brutal and fantastic. The only thing that bummed me out about season 4 is Doug Stamper is such a pimp, and they kind of like subjugated my main homie, and I
bit.
was a little bummed out about that, although he came back hard.
Bit of a creep, though, to be fair.
Creep?
Yeah.
Doug Stamper is not a creep. He's a man who handles his business.
Okay.
That's an opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway, an opinion? Is that
That's
like
an
a,
opinion.
it's like a
That's
pink
an
opinion?
Yeah.
I was
It's a
trying to do
lady
my
opinion.
southern. It was my South Carolina.
South Carolina. Yeah,
That's an
on
opinion.
the peanut farm.
Yeah.
Miss Bond.
But the fact that you got Ms. Bonds, a man and a
Raymond,
woman.
you insult me. Sorry. I just love talking like Frank
I
Underwood.
can't keep it together when you do that.
Who doesn't? I just want to pound the table with my ring and scream, F you!
Can you record that from my phone?
But that it's a man and a woman writing for a very strong male character, a
Right.
very strong female character. Jonathan, do you think that that will aid the storytelling?
Yeah, I think we might see some gain. I mean, when you see a show that goes on for 3, 4, 5+ seasons, sometimes you do need a little bit of a reinjection of new blood. Granted, having it come from the inside, we've seen it with things like Walking Dead, right? Like Scott Gimple, that he'd never been a showrunner. and coming out and being the third showrunner on that show, it actually reinvigorated them. And those are not easy shoes to fill.
Yeah.
You're filling the shoes of showrunners who've been there. You also have to remember that Bo was also not a showrunner when he started out.
Right.
He was a playwright. And so I think this might be what you need, and we'll see. You only know when the release date of May 30th comes.
Dan?
And also keep in mind, this is not the first time the show's had to deal with a complete change in circumstance. 'Cause a lot of people don't even know, but I mean, the first and parts of the second season were heavily based off of the British or the UK version of House of Cards, which is where this originated from. So they've already kind of had to transition from having a basis to work off of, okay, now we're done with that. Now we have to live on our own.
Yeah.
And they've kind of, there were some growing pains there, I think. I think that Beau Willimon probably, I doubt that he left the cabinet completely bare. I'm sure he left them some, and again, because they're internal hires, I'm sure he left them some guidance, or they can talk to him, speak to him.
Also, they have a lot of real world inspiration right now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And they got out of the cycle of where every February we're on, because it seemed like they were almost in a perpetual production cycle, because they were coming back from, it was February 14th every year, right around Valentine's Day. They were back with a new season. I like that they took a few extra months, probably just to make sure that they got this right, probably
For some
to
commentary.
see what the hell was going to happen. It's going to be very interesting to watch the show in the world we live in today, because it is not the world that we were watching it in last year or
And it was still
3 years
incredibly prescient when it was on a few years ago. Will Claire continue breaking the fourth wall? At the end of season 4, that's the last moment, and holy F-bomb, Christ, I died. I literally was like, oh my God, she's looking at the camera.
I think that's the influence of the popularity of Deadpool. If you haven't seen Deadpool, I think it's the best movie of 2016. And
That
obviously they do as well because they went full Deadpool on Claire.
I took that to be very symbolic. I don't know if we're going to have Robin Wright narrating to camera like Frank Underwood does. I think it was very much that, like you said, that whole season was about whether they can reconcile. And I think that the whole climax of that season was both of them realizing that the only way to make this thing work is because it was always Frank trying to push her out, to keep her at arm's length. You can't have this. This is mine. And I think that the end of that season, what they did was the final acceptance with her turning was that they are no longer in opposition. And not only that, but she's no longer on the outside. She is now complicit. She is now part of this as much as Frank is part of it. That's the only way that they were going to work. It would never work if he kept her out. And I loved that twist. I love that now we're going to see them. They are both formidable. And we've seen what they're like when they're fighting each other. What are they going to be like now when they are 100% on the same page?
How disappointed would you be if they start season 5 and it's just a different camera angle and you see that she was talking to somebody?
The old Simpsons trick.
I would be miserable. The other thing that was so great was that was the moment where like their power was equalized. And the other thing that I really hope we see in season 5 is Robin Wright coming back to direct more. She directed a ton in season 4. Those are some of my favorite episodes of that last season. I can't wait. Oh, May 30th. Thank you, May 30th. But we want to know what you guys think. Let us know what you hope to see in season 4 of House of Cards if you're excited. And as always, you can click here for more Screen Junkies news, comment below, or tweet us at SJ News. And F you.